you're so quiet.
Oh yeah,
well, we don't shut up. So
we don't shut up.
Scott's a listener too, so you know you're in good company with him. Yeah, we can't hear you, Scott. I think you muted yourself.
I muted myself. Damn it! I do that every episode. It's crazy. Yeah. Hi everybody, welcome to Zeal Zaddy. I'm Scott. My pronouns are he/him, and this is Story Talk, and it is our first session where we're going to do creator appreciation. You know, one thing that I've always felt, I don't want to say always, but for the last few years, I would say since the pandemic, is creators have a hard time getting to know what their players do with their stuff. And I thought, man, it would be really cool to have a session every now and then. I'm going to move my camera a little bit. I'm a little off center. It's annoying me. To let them know how we use it and find people that love what they're doing, and let's gush about, cool creators. So Underground Oracle Publishing is going to get all the love we can push out tonight. I hope chat throws in as much love as possible. So when we come on, we're going to talk about our experiences, both with the product and with the people, Jess and Keith Penley, who are amazing people, great supporters of the community and other creators. I've learned crazy amounts from them. Their Discord is just amazing. I'm even going to talk a little bit about Rising Tide when we get there, because I think that's a brilliant little underground thing they're doing that I think could really be beneficial for a lot of creators too. And let's get everybody on. Let's start the party, I guess.
Let's start the party.
So our guests tonight, we have David Tilstra, Nekola the Druid, Stax, which is one of the coolest nicknames I think I've ever heard, and Morgan of Mindflayed Mondays. I'm going to let them run around and kind of say who they are. Let's start with David, who's right there on the top left, and we'll go around like a clock as he yawns.
Yeah, it's all good. Hello, everybody. My name is David Tilstra. I'm a voice actor, DM, GM, social media guy, Twitch streamer, just a little bit of everything. You can normally find me over doing stuff at From Afar podcast on our Discords and our Twitters and stuff. You can find what I do with voice acting stuff over at just David Tilstra. But very excited to be here with this awesome crew and talking about an even more awesome crew, the Underground Oracle folks, because I don't think you could be a part of the TTRPG space nowadays and not have used something from them or know them personally, just because they're so flipping cool and it's amazing. Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, Nekola.
Hi, I am Nekola the Druid. I'm that charity streaming girl who runs unnecessarily over-the-top charity streams. You can also find me guesting on a couple different podcasts. Yeah, I am. Oh, also a moderator of the Underground Oracle Discord, even though I could be better at it. Calling myself right out there. I host Hearthside in the Underground at some get-together events that we do in the Underground Oracle Discord. So if you're not a member, you should stop by. We've been learning the Cypher game. We're going to be playing Cypher. We do Jackbox games, all that kind of stuff, just to build a little more community.
Woo. I think you got
Morgan. My dogs were barking.
You just want to stay muted, man.
All right, you go, Morgan. Sorry.
What's up, travelers?
It's going to be that kind of night, I think.
I am Morgan with Mindflayed Mondays. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on social medias everywhere except on Twitter at Mindflayed Mondays. On Twitter, it is at Mindflayed Mon. I'm a pro GM. I do podcasts. I do streams. Do a little bit of everything myself. I create content myself as well. I even have t-shirts that I sell on Amazon. So if you like, TTRPG, like t-shirts and stuff, check it out. We have some on there. The podcast that I'm most associated with is my own, which is Mindflayed Mondays podcast. But myself and David Tilstra are part of a team that are putting together a new podcast that's coming out called Keep It Dicey, where we have 4 dungeon masters who will be switching chairs every mini campaign, which will be 8 to 10 episodes long. And we will then switch what system we're playing, and we will change up the cast. So we're keeping it dicey. So when this comes out, please check out the podcast. You guys are going to love it. And besides that, we're here. Like I said, we're here to talk about UO, and I've used them in a lot of things. I've done 2 charity streams using their products. I've used them in my podcast itself. I backed their Kickstarter. So, and I absolutely love Jess and Keith. And if you don't know who Jess and Keith are, they're the people who are UO Publishing. They are both amazing people. When I started getting involved in the community, they were so welcoming. They like immediately were like, "Hey, listen, come talk with us," and like they were giving me samples of some of their stuff from the beginning and just really getting me involved and showing me what they had. And I fell in love with their products, and I fell in love with them. If I wasn't married, I'd probably marry both of them. So they're amazing people, and I'm just happy to be here to talk about them.
All right. Stax.
Nice. Okay. Hi, everybody. I am Stax, also known as the Judgy DM. You can find me anywhere on socials with that Monarch. And you can also find me over at Dungeon Mechanics. I do a lot of DMing there as well. And we are working into getting other systems besides just 5th edition content. So be sure to look out for those as well. We stream pretty regularly, have a bunch of different campaigns, so there's probably something that you'll enjoy. And as far as Underground Oracle goes, I've known about them for like a few years now, and we actually were fortunate enough to get them as a sponsor for Dungeon Mechanics back in June of last year, and we have not been disappointed. I literally love all of their stuff. Back their Kickstarter, like anything. Just Keith, give it to me. I just want all of it. But yeah, definitely love on all of Underground Oracle's stuff.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So flipping good.
I'm dropping links into the chat so that you have them for everybody, but also for Underground Oracle, because they are our stars tonight. And before we even get started with everything else, there is a Kickstarter in there that they're gathering emails for Harrow, which is their cool ass plane. So you should go check it out, sign up to get notified when it goes live. And when we get to the intermission, you'll be able to see a little, an image of it, and the link will be dropped again then. All right, so let's get started. If you have questions, just drop them in chat. Put question before it. I prefer it in all caps so it's easier for me to spot, since I'm doing all that stuff on myself. But I'll find it. It's not that tough. So I'm going to start with the easiest question that anybody in this panel could answer, or the hardest. What is your favorite UO publishing thing? It could be anything.
Yeah.
I want to interject one thing before we answer that question, because I realized that none of us mentioned it. But as of a couple days ago, Keith and Jess are no longer a 2-person team. Oh. And so we also have to shout out Kayla at Just Thinking K on Twitter, has officially joined as the 3rd person of the Underground Oracle team.
Wonderful.
And if you don't know Kayla, she's amazing. Anyway, answer that question, because I will go on for hours about that question. So let me hear all you guys first.
I remember when you posted that in the Twitter, I was like, yeah, easy. And I was like, wait a minute. There's so many.
There's a lot of things. I mean, because they make spells, feats, locations, backgrounds, other unique mechanics.
NPCs.
It's
Yep.
I don't know.
They do.
I mean, I have a little bit.
Let's narrow it down then.
Okay.
What is your favorite subclass that they have done in D&D?
I got 2 right off the bat. One is a little bit self-inserty because I got to
because they wrote it for you.
Yeah, is there's I forget what it's called, the temporal. I call it temporal night. I think that's what the From Afar.
The Time Strider.
The Time Strider. That's what it is. Yeah,
that's mine, man. I love that one.
Fighter. It's super cool. So in my show, we just did I made up a class. I'm like, it's like a time fight night guy. Cool. And I messaged it to Keith, and he was like, yeah, we already got something in the works. I was like, damn it. He's like, but we can collaborate on this. And we made a really fun, there's 2 sets of lore for it, because they're in 2 different timelines, but they're the same thing. It's really fun. So that's my favorite one. Sorry. Oh, one more. Sorry. I like to talk. From the Harvest Moon one, the fear like the phobia subclasses, or those are the races. Never mind. We'll circle back to that
Yeah.
once we do races. But yeah, sorry.
I want to say one of the things I really loved about the Temporal Knight, or
Mhm.
you know, is I like their 18th level ability. Right. I know we don't generally get up there in a lot of games, but that is so. It feels like such an anime move. Like you can hit a number of targets within 30 feet of you. Like is any target you see within 30 feet of you,
Yeah.
you can hit them in one turn.
Yeah.
But everybody you hit, you take damage for doing it as well, and you can
Yeah.
only use it once a week. But just
Yeah.
think like, you know that where you see like the guy just go and just goes, and I'm like, dude, that is visually so cool. It is such a cool subclass. I love their
that's
Temporal Knight,
freaking
and
sweet.
the other things are just as equally amazing in it. It's a very well put together subclass, and it definitely has got that temporal, night vibe. It feels really, really good. It's a very cool subclass. That's my favorite subclass.
Mine would have to be the School of the Rover. I think mostly because that was the first one that I actually saw implemented into RP, or like a person picked that up as their subclass for their character. I was like, what is that? But yeah, I like that one because like wizards, they're kind of limited as far as what spells and things that they can gather or like have, but that one gives them a little bit more flexibility, and I think that's always cool to have as a wizard. You're just like, I'll try this, and School of the Rover.
That is a really cool one.
I will narrow it down, I promise. My favorite to play is the Circle of the Unseelie Druid.
Oh yeah.
First Underground Oracle
Love it.
thing that I ever played. Absolutely adore. They have an ability that's a reaction if you take damage, and it's called I think it's called Unseelie Icor or something. I don't know. I could look it up. Either way, essentially, like Ichor comes from your body to either like shield you or to cause the person who hit you damage. And when I did it, we called it inking. And so when she got hit, she would ink herself because all this black ichor would come out. And I just love it so much so that I took that character, and she is an NPC in the game I DM. But in the little town in the game I DM, she is one of the healers, because it's like a secret hidden town of like people who have been freed. And the other healer is actually based off of the Underground Oracle subclass, the Field Medic Fighter.
I was gonna say that one's such a cool. Sorry, yeah, go.
It is I agree. It is so cool. So both of the healers in that town are Underground Oracle based,
Nice.
but neither of them are actually healers. One is a druid and one is a fighter. And I love that like they pull when they do subclasses, they pull from different things.
Oh yeah.
Like the Field Medic Fighter, and then. Yeah, I could go on and on because I have like 17 characters that I've made using solely Underground Oracle stuff.
Back in like pandemic times, I mean, I guess we're still kind of there, but like early on in pandemic times when they were hooking up with Shard Tabletop, we got to play test that. Nick from Scry Society, I was in a game where he was play testing the Field Medic, and I was just blown away. He was, like, because they like basically get like some cool movement and like bonus action heal abilities. And they're just like zipping around the field, just healing people. And I'm like, this is the way it should be. Like, this makes so much sense as like a healer. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah. What about you, Scott?
I think that I love the Riotborn. I think the Riotborn sorcerer is.
Yes.
I mean, I love people that come from just violent, chaotic backgrounds. they make such interesting characters. And even if their parents are alive, which, PC characters' parents are never alive. Never. But even if they are, I mean, just what a cool background. So I always found that a really interesting way of a sorcerer coming into being is in a place of violence that isn't the typical one. It isn't, monsters tearing up the town. It's, political strife leading to it. I think, oh yeah, that's cool. I love that stuff.
Oh, I love that. I made for a one shot that ended up getting canceled. Made a Riotborn, Riotborn sorcerer Terrorborn.
Ooh.
They're ancestry that it was so cool, but then it got canceled, so I never got to play it. So we're just gonna have to set up a one shot so I can play it.
That was what I was trying to talk about earlier. The Terrorborn, the ancestry of like.
Yes.
We did. Morgan was running a game. It was for. Was it? It was promoting for the. It was promoting the Kickstarter.
It was promoting for the Kickstarter. Yeah, it was promoting the Kickstarter. It was. I took their content, and then I made an adventure for you guys, and you played a pretty cool character in that.
I forget their name, but they were a Terrorborn fear of heights, just like the
Yes.
personification of like the fear of heights, and it was just really fun, just like being like a scary boy, just like walking on like tight ropes and stuff. It was very fun. I really like that.
Every time there was a building, he had to climb to the top of it.
Climbing on top of it, just, like, perched like Batman.
I did a Terrorborn fear of heights, and she was a very tall, essentially like a Slender Woman, tall and lanky, and was like had adopted all of the actions and characteristics of an elf, because that's what she was trying to imitate. So she just looked like a super stretched out elf. And she was a rogue of the shadows, so you would forget she was there. And it was she was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Tall shadow.
A very tall shadow. And it was like when she would sit down, her knees would be like up to her head. And I loved her. Named her Twiggy.
Twiggy. That's amazing.
So Mimics and Misfits asked a question that is a good one, and
yes.
It's one I had already written down, so I'm glad that we're all thinking on the same page. What's been a cool story or event you've had in a UO game or related to UO products in a game?
Ooh,
and I have like 100 of them, so I'm sure all of us on this stream have 100 of them.
Well, a lot of mine are from your game, Scott. When you use the... What's it called? What's the monster? The Stormbreaker Draken Snake.
Oh shit, that thing is awesome.
To destroy our ship that we were on and stranded us up in the pretty much like the North Pole of his world.
It was the Arctic.
It was
awesome.
brutal. It was so brutal, but it was so cool. It was so cool. And like what Scott did with it is he took like those certain images of it and he made it like a map where you could see where the snake every turn was like wrapping around the ship. Yeah. And it was
like
really,
what
really cool.
like what Domil's Wonders map. What's the name of it?
Domil's Wonders
Works, right? They always do these maps that are multi movement, and I was like, I'm gonna do one of the snake tearing the ship to be like going over the top and then crushing it down the middle.
Oh, it was
brutal.
We were terrified. The players, we were all terrified because I think we were like level 6.
Yeah, you were.
We're like,
isn't that like a CR30 monster?
Yeah, totally. In my game, I even made it worse. I made it a god-killing monster. It actually is a god killer.
Yeah, it was brutal.
But the goal was not for them to fight the dragon snake and survive. The goal was to get away.
Yeah.
And survive the Arctic.
Yeah.
You know.
Which
and they did.
We barely did.
And they even kept, I think, one of the crew stayed alive at the end of two at the end of everything. So they only lost the whole crew, but 2. Not bad.
And we were doing everything we could to keep them alive. So that was like one. I really enjoyed the Halloween special that I ran for the Kickstarter. The whole cast that was a part of it. That was a lot of fun for me. And I have to say, when I ran their along the way Mock the Fae, the Real Trouble.
Yes.
When I ran that adventure, I did that adventure for a what you do, like the not the Kickstarters. Oh my gosh, my brain. Where you raise money. There you go. I was raising
charity.
My brain. Listen. I've been all over the road today, so my brain is like fried. But the charity stream, I enjoyed it. And what I love about that product is, as a pro DM, it flows really well. It's a great one-shot adventure to teach new players. There's a lot of different obstacles in their way, different challenges for people to face, and you can get it done in one session and have a great time. So like the pacing of that adventure, I love. I love the way they put it together. I love the mouselings. Oh my gosh, those characters are cool. I love them.
I love the mouselings.
And that's for me. Sorry, I kind of went on like 3 different things there, but
this is a gushing show. You can gush for a long time.
I want to piggyback. This is not my answer, but I want to piggyback off the Mock the Fae, because not only is it like a good adventure. It has things I picked out just from, I still haven't run that adventure, but the jinxes that come from it,
Yeah.
I put those into another game and they were so much fun. Like, because they're not like game breaking. Nobody's gonna, it was just a little jinx, and then like the characters had to, and it's so much fun because the players then got to just do some crazy little, oh, I loved it. I don't know that I can narrow down to my favorite story, so we're gonna start with
Just a story.
story. I'm gonna do two. No, okay. So one character that I played is a Scrimp, which is a goblinoid from Underground Oracle. Absolute chaotic little buggers, and I love them so much. But I paired that as a warlock with a puka patron, also an Underground Oracle thing. Basically a chaos demon. And so my little Scrimp was an absolute ball of chaos, and they were just the best thing ever. My DM, because I went the whichever one of the things gives you the familiar, I think it's like Pact of the Tome. No, not Tome. Pact, whatever. Anyway, so because of the chaotic element of everything, when I summoned a familiar, I never knew what I was getting. I was essentially getting whatever was in the break room at the time of the Puka's little domain. And so at one point I got like a 5,000-year-old little stone imp named Cecil. Loved him. Rest in peace. He did die. I rolled a nat 20 and he still died. We did blow something up. So like it was fine, but
only so much you can do.
And then I got a pixie named Jessimer because I had killed Cecil. They sent Jessimer. And I was also, while utilizing the familiar was doing an HR review on why I had killed one of the familiars. It was just chaos in the best way, and I loved it so much. And then in a game that I'm currently in, I play an Eloin, which is another ancestry. It's essentially like a butterfly folk. And it is a Curse of Strahd game. So I purposefully picked the Eloin because they are bright and beautiful and they love things so passionately. And I was like, this is perfect for Curse of Strahd because everything is dark and gray and gloomy.
Right. So much corruption can really eat away at that. So
oh, yeah. And frequently I have used my wings to like just fully extend my wings to hide somebody doing something, like we broke out a prisoner behind my wings. But then the downside is that I am easily recognizable. And so then I was wanted a lot. And then, you know, now, I mean, we rescued the city that we're in. And so now it's, but we were freeing a prisoner. I was like, I fully extend my beautiful butterfly wings. And they're like, you are number one most wanted, and it is literally just because of the wings. I'm like, yes. Anyway,
You did it.
She
Such
is
a cool race.
But
the Eloin are really cool. That is actually my favorite race from their stuff.
Yes, they are. Oh, I love them. And she was
I love
actually
the flyby attack that they get.
Yes, swooping strike. So you can fly down and you don't cause opportunity attacks. And I love it. She, in her backstory, was a cleric of Ayala Breen, which is a deity from Underground Oracle. She is a deity of love and art and all of that stuff. And so that character is the most Underground Oracle character I have.
Hell yeah.
I think for me, it was actually a character one of my players made, because, you know, forever DM, it's hard to actually make any. But
it could be a DMing story too.
Well, yeah, I can incorporate them as like NPCs, but I don't know if they would know the full flavor of what they're capable of. But anyways, she contacted me and said she wanted to incorporate grove magic into her druid character, and I was like, yeah, 1,000%. So I remember, because I was making them fight a dragon at like level 3 or something ridiculous. and
Yes.
she called out the move, and then everybody else is like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's Underground Oracle.
The amount of
So-
times, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
People are like, what is this? Oh, funny you should ask.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For me, some of my favorite stuff. I have two stories here. Back when we first started getting into the TTRPG space, Keith and Jess are some of the first people we met, and they're supported us nonstop, and it was amazing. They're lovely, creative, wonderful people. There was a thing going around for a while that they had some of their items they were giving to all the different shows. So like there's like 6 shows that have all the same items, and they're all really, really cool. They're the Hyperion's ooze masters items or something. I forget exactly what they are, but there's the prongs of the black, the bounding golfer, and the cloak of the gray burglar. 3 items that are insanely broken, but oh so freaking cool. Basically, the prongs of the black, you can cast like a basically like a poison fireball, just kind of whenever. The cube with the bounding golfer, it summons a gelatinous cube, and the cloak of the gray burglar, it like you can just become an ooze. Very, very cool. But the I in our show, it gave my little brother who plays a hobgoblin samurai barbarian thing. He's like, I don't like magic items. I already have my katana. I don't need any items. I'm like, oh, we'll take this cube thing. It'll be really fun. And he's like, okay. And he like tried to open it up or activate it or whatever, and it literally like in the middle, like they were like sitting in the middle of their camp trying to like do a long rest and just like wait, and all of a sudden he was engulfed by this gelatinous cube, and they had to do this like wild fight, and he was just like, what is going on? I was like, this is on you. But that was one of my favorite moments. But then there was another time. So we use in From Afar, we use Underground Oracle stuff like it's going out of style, because they're amazing, and they grace us with just so much of their content. I was sort of stuck in the middle of a story, because we had sort of an upset, like we had to recast some of our cast members like halfway through an arc, and I like messaged Keith. I'm like, I'm kind of stuck on this. I don't really know what to do. And he's like, yo, what if you put in this like bathhouse, like sort of like plain hopping bathhouse?
Yes.
I love
And
the
I was
bathhouse.
like,
You
yeah, let's
invented
try it.
Mama Bardusas?
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I got to play Mama Bardosa. We were in it. And
Damn.
she is
Love
my
Mama
favorite NPC to play,
Mine
hands
too.
down. She is so freaking cool.
Mine too.
And oh my god, it like that moment, like it gave like the story enough of like kind of like a like breathing room, and like sort of a way to fix what we like the problems that by the person leaving, like by that created. And it turned into this like wildly epic like fight where they were bringing demons from hell to fight on like the celestial planes, and just like all sorts of shit. And now they have these like golden cups that they get to go back and visit Mama Bardosa whenever they want to, because I'm like, we're never giving her up. She's the
Yeah.
fucking best.
I
And-
love
and-
Mama
and-
Bardosa.
In Scott's game, that is like Mama Bardusa, and then Arlena is Arlena of
Yeah,
the Can-
Arlena.
the-
Yeah.
Yes,
from
they,
the
there's
Cantor
a
Cantina.
town, and it's called Wythe in Scott's game, and they're both there, and they're like beloved by the cast. We go back to Wythe. We spent half a season of Wythe just hanging out in the bathhouse,
It's such a cool place, man.
It is.
making plans,
It's
making
so
plans.
cool. Mhm.
Where you guys want to go next? I'm good right here, just chilling in the bathhouse.
We're at the
You know,
spa.
when I introduced Mama Bardusa, I didn't introduce her to become an ally or an enemy. I didn't know where it would go, and they, through the span of about, I don't know, 10 or 15 episodes, turned her into a patron, because they needed to. One of the players is a bard who needed to compose an orchestral magic piece, and she put up money to do it, as long as it was named after her. And she became a patron of this thing, and it was one of the most interesting, bizarre things to happen. Was this magic, creating this orchestra. I mean, very rarely do you get to make a skill just dominate a session, but performance was everything.
Hell
all the musicians who she had to conduct and train outdoors in this magic field that was near the town. And then Mama Bardusa put all that money in. And when they came back 2 years later, when they thought they were gone for a week or two, everyone thought they were killed and they were heroes because they brought everybody back. It was just the craziest thing. And Mama was the catalyst.
In Fern's words, time is a weird soup, you know?
Time is a weird soup.
Yes.
We were gone for like 2-3 days, came back, it'd been 2 years. We were like, what?
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, it just goes to show, like, Keith and Jess's stuff and Underground Oracle stuff is like, it's like they always say it's like story based and like story forward, story focused stuff. And it clearly is like all the different spells and places and NPCs and weapons and stuff we've all used in all these different games. Like none of them have been the same. Like, there was like Mama Bardusa, like you guys, like she's making orchestral music and stuff for you. She was just giving out wine, like a ton of wine. There was so much wine that she gave out in like our show, and it's like I don't know. I think it just goes to show how deep and honestly good Underground Oracle stuff is, that it sort of transcends across all these different shows and these different adventures.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
On the other end, go on. Sorry, go on, Nekola.
I also have a story about the Bogdan Golfer because I adore that, but it took forever because I believe it's legendary.
It is,
and it took forever for me to convince someone to let me have it, and it was a level 21 shot with Kyle at Kyle Express on Twitter.
Yeah.
Fantastic DM.
Fantastic.
I can't remember what I was doing with my character, but I had the Bound Golfer and we were fighting the Kraken Hunter, this huge monster. And it was almost dead. And I was like, can I use this and summon the ooze in between one of its teeth? And he was like, go on. Through a series of rolls that I did and got really well at, I summoned the ooze in the gap between one of its teeth. And then it was just taking all this damage because it couldn't get the ooze out. While it was just, I was rolling. It was so funny.
That's amazing.
But yeah, it was beautiful.
I do want to piggyback off of what David had said also about how the things they create is story, driven. I mean, even one of the things that they made that's one of my favorite things, which I have not got to use personally, but I just love it, is the Wondrous Gifts. Because it just that alone, if you reach certain requirements, you can unlock these things and get these extra benefits. But there's also, you get these benefits, but you have to appear to certain things, or you can lose it and then go through like a whole bunch of suffering for it. And there's just so much role playing and story to that feature. And I love that they do that with so many other things. Everything's just like, how can not only do we want to make something cool, but how can we make it to where you can use it and create a really cool story with it? Where a lot of content creators, not a lot, there are some content creators that when they make things, they just make it to be cool. They don't really necessarily take that extra step to think, how can I make this drive a story? And they do a really, really good job of doing that. And I love their stuff for that reason.
Would agree.
What have you not used that you are jonesing to put in something?
Ooh.
Wondrous Gifts.
Wondrous Gifts is probably up there.
Yes.
I just got the what's the new plan they just did? The Harrow.
Plane.
That looks so cool. I've just started perusing through like the PDFs and stuff, and I'm like, yo, this shit is fire. So that for sure.
If I know that we've been focused because for so long Underground Oracle did D&D 5e stuff, and now the transition to Cypher with the Harrow Quick Start and Cypher shorts. If you don't have those, you should pick them up. But absolutely everything you need to learn to play Cypher is in the Quick Start, and it is beautiful. And Crystal Punk is an amazing thing. And I'm very excited, actually going to be playing a game with Keith and Jess and a couple other people in the Harrow setting.
I want to join. Bring me with you.
We used the Harrow setting in Weave Racers in one of the games. Harrow is absolutely gorgeous and like post-apocalyptic. Love Harrow. Yes.
I have something, but I was gonna let you go first, Stax.
So I'm excited about the Harrow stuff. If anybody that I DM is listening, cover your ears. So next month, my campaign that went on hiatus that's coming back, it's kind of like a Planescape setting, so
Nice.
anything can happen. But they're kind of going outside into a bunch of different possibilities to try and hunt down monsters that they're supposed to kill. Anyways, I planned on incorporating kind of a Harrow meets Dark Sun for like early edition D&D fans, because this campaign's just like brutal. But
Hell yeah.
when I saw that, I was like,
interesting.
yes, I'm incorporating all of this, because like
Everything.
desert aesthetics and like surfing. Oh.
I'm going to say the same thing to you that I just told Nekola. Take me with you. It
Right?
sounds really cool.
Yes.
It sounds really cool.
Bring me.
And I am excited for, I don't know if I can wait all the way till like Halloween time frame, but their Kickstarter, Harvest Moon. I want to do
So
like
good.
a whole big thing for that.
Yeah,
So
I have that on my list too.
We just did a side quest with. I wasn't able to get as much of the Harvest Moon stuff into the side quest that I wanted to, but there was a moment where like we went to like sort of like the BBEG's like lair, and they just had like a bunch of like taxidermy like monster heads on the walls, and I just like went through the book, and I was like, and you see something that looks like this, and I described one of the monsters, and like, oh, and then also this thing is like there's like, I don't know if you all can see this, but the pictures in here of all these different monsters are so cool. But yeah,
All real artists,
Harvest
by the
Moon's
way,
amazing.
no AI.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yes. You don't. I mean, you don't technically have to wait till, because they have one of the supplements, the Halloween, with the Holly. Halloween can happen anytime in your campaign. Just saying.
Very true.
Now, if we're talking about the new Cypher stuff, I'm totally jonesing to play the new Harrow stuff. I want that so bad. But if we're talking about the D&D stuff that they've created, obviously Wondrous Gifts I want to use because I was talking about those before. But two other things I really want to try to incorporate is the new way to travel, where you can basically have like a tank for a wagon. But how you can hook it up and have all kinds of different abilities. I think that is so cool, where you're like rolling around on like a tank that could be armed with shielding and weapons. That's cool. And then I really, and this, you guys may laugh at me for this, but I really want to play an Awakened Familiar Holderkin.
Yeah.
Who is a monk who punches people with his eye stalks. I really want to play that.
Sounds amazing.
So good.
Absolutely, my favorite race ancestry is the Awakened Familiars. I've played so many of them because they fill that need for me to play as something tiny. I love it so much.
I'm trying to find the artwork of the.
It'd be so fun to play like a monk going around punching people with your eye stalks. To me,
that sounds brilliant.
Also sounds terrifying,
right?
For both parties involved.
What the hell's going on?
Please don't touch me. Oh, it's gross. Your eyeballs touched me.
I'm kind of interested in the Hive Giant. I thought it was cool when the Swarm stuff all came out, and then they came out with the Hive Giant. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like he carries his hive, his like swarm with him as a giant. That's pretty awesome. And then one of the new things I've seen is I really want to. I have a place I'm going to probably use the Biomancer's Edge, the new transmutation spells.
Oh yeah,
I think those are really interesting and really kind of came out of nowhere. I would say came out of left field for most UO publishing stuff. I had not seen them mess with that kind of stuff until then. I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. The idea of the Biomancer. I thought, they're always testing new grounds and pushing the envelope into nooks and crannies they haven't touched yet.
The thing that I haven't done that I want to do is call back Mama Bardosa.
Yes.
I have tried to introduce it into my campaign. But it was like the players were going to go to something and their benefactor gave them a scroll but then the scroll that would have, if they had gotten in trouble and used it, taken them there. They didn't get in trouble. The scroll is now gone. And so now I have to do it again to retry and introduce it because I want to have the bathhouse. And that is, I love Mama Bardosa so much.
It's a wonderful place, the bathhouse.
There could be a mirror that's a portal to the bathhouse that they don't realize until they just, there's all kinds of ways to bring Mama Bardosa in.
But my players also have a, in the town that they reside in, have a absolutely wild, insane wizard, and so they don't trust anything anymore because Wally
sounds
Jr.
like Bezran.
Wally Jr. probably did something to cause it, and it's even worse now because there's an alternate reality Wally Jr. who is on their plane. So there's two of this wizard that is out of his mind. So they don't trust anything anymore.
I thought you said Waluigi Jr. and I was about to be like, what the
No, Wally
heck?
Jr.
No, it's a
Yes. Anyway.
I had a tangent here. I got to play with Keith and Jess, and actually Blake. I think Blake was in this game. Yeah, Blake was in this game. We were just like an off-air game. We were just having fun, and it was right after we did Mama Bardosa's little arc in From Afar, and Keith we were just like in like this main town, and Keith's like, oh, by the way, there's a bathhouse here, and I was like, Keith, you didn't, you dog. Here we go. So I got to like go from playing Mama Bardosa to like having like Keith player, and I was like, this is so cool. Like this is the way she's supposed to be. Like, it was really cool. Yeah, that's
funny. I love it.
Yeah,
I love a lot of their stuff, man. I even like they came up with the was it the bar fighting and brawls, like the rules.
Oh yes.
I thought that was a really good take on it. A very an interesting way of doing it because when you're punching with fists, you're not a monk. It's just 1 point, and it. I mean, it's kind of hard to really roll that out in a brawl. And I really liked how they came together with the non-lethal damage and the knockouts, and it was a very nice set of rule sets. And like I said, it helps push the story forward.
It's a supplement called Recreational Violence, Bar Fights and Brawls.
Yeah, I'm going through my
I have my list open.
I literally have my file open where I have all my Underground Oracle stuff, and I'm just looking for that because I don't have that one.
I bring that up because I'm looking forward to a brawl in one of my podcasts. I almost had it happen in my podcast in the first season. My players were in a bar and they started a brawl fight, but they snuck out and let everybody fight while they dipped out. And I was like, "Come on!" I was so ready to use these rule sets and I didn't get to use them. But it still ended up being a really funny scene. But like we've been saying, it's really cool because there's so many ways that you can try to incorporate the stuff they create into your games. And I've noticed that every time it does work out, it becomes like a thing that your players are just in love with. I've never once have I introduced something and it actually get introduced and my players are like, whatever. They're always like, that was so cool. And I'm like, yeah, UO Publishing, that's their stuff. So I've never had a player complain about anything I've used from their stuff.
Yeah, no one would complain. So that actually leads to another question I had, which I think will probably be the last one before we take our break, which is, what is a reaction somebody's had from you introducing something interesting from UO Publishing into your game? That the reaction was worth all the effort.
Oh man.
Oh,
that's a good question.
While you're thinking, because you're all thinking, I'm going to go over one. So, in my D&D game in season 2, I used the Gorb, which is from Snail Tales, and the Gorb I think is freaking awesome and way underrated for its capabilities. And up until then, we had this barbarian who was a dragonborn barbarian, and the earlier mentioned bard were out in the woods together, and they were slowly walking into its web trap, and they didn't realize they were in, but there were these black and burned lumps that were really bodies that looked like just stones, and it was at night, and they could see the glistening of the webbing, and they thought it was the stars above them, above the tree line. And as they were walking in, I mean, they walked right into it. It dropped its webbing trap on them, and it was the first time in the game any of them had experienced an acid attack, because the webbing is an acid attack. Yeah. And the barbarian basically never ran from anything. And it was the first time I ever saw him go, oh, I run, and just flee like right away. And the bard had to go get him back. I mean, they left. They did not want anything to do at all with that encounter. They were like, no, I'm out. And they.
What I loved about
Go on. You go.
I was saying what I loved about that with that, because I was there for that, was Tiffany, the way she roleplayed her character. Like, the barbarian got hit, and then he's like, I run, and Tiffany's like, I look, and I see her running, and I'm like, I'm not staying. And she just took off running too. She's like, holy shit, if he's running out. But it was the way Tiffany did it that just made it so funny. Yeah. When he ran, she was just like,
it was so funny.
Bye. Yeah, it was hilarious. That was a really good scene, Scott. That was, and you set it up perfecly.
It was cool to see fear in the eyes of the player, to be honest.
Yeah. They make some dang scary things. That kind of reminds me of. So I'm looking for that brawl fight rule right now, because I don't think I have that one. I'm gonna buy it.
He's still looking for it. He's like, where is it?
Yeah, where the hell is it? The one of. I'm very bad at making challenging fights.
Me too.
They're difficult. The players are awesome, and I want them to be awesome. And it's like, I don't want to kill you, but I got a chance to use something from Underground Oracle. Y'all remember the Sephorial, the tree octopus?
I don't.
Yes.
That it was so much fun. Like my players were, like, walking through the woods, like scouting, looking for this thing. They were like, they saw all these like signs and symbols of like a big monster like around, but it was like there was like ink in places, and like it looked like trees had been like bent down, not like broken. There was no like scratches or anything like that. And like they get out to this wading pool, like tidal pool area, and all of a sudden there's like these like two giant tree octopuses that like octopi like that come down from the sky, and they fight them. And like that moment of just like them being like, oh, we were expecting something else, and now you have like sky octopi flying at us. This is pretty baller. So yeah, that was probably the Sephorial. It's a very, very cool monster.
Well, they got a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. Go ahead, Stax. I'm still trying to find.
So a while back, most of the people over in Dungeon Mechanics are like military, so we work on what's called Ospreys. So we made the Osprey Tavern, and I got to like thinking, okay, we have to populate this with NPCs that pretty much can be used on the dime. And I was like, wait a second, I could just make a bunch of Underground Oracle like classes for these, and nobody would know anything. But I think being able to just pull and adapt, this probably isn't anything in specific, but being able to just pull and adapt something that normally people wouldn't consider, like a blacksmith in Underground Oracle, that's a subclass. So like making the mundane like better, I think that's like cool to see, and I try and incorporate that with my like 400 plus characters that I've made. But it's just, I love being able to have a lot more options, I guess. So with the Osprey Tavern, having a bunch of NPCs that I can just pretty much give the different DMs, because it's supposed to be like a tavern that anybody can use in any of their campaigns at any time. And it's not like connected as far as like continuity wise, because it changes. So being like, this person works here and they have this archetype, and they'd be like, oh, that's cool. Just being able to incorporate all that and see how people like it and take it from there, sort of thing. Because there's favorites. People are like, oh yeah, I want to see the bartender more, and I'm just like, okay, just don't touch his sword, you'll be fine. Yeah.
Nice.
Go ahead.
No, ladies first.
Okay, so the one that I have that I played and got everybody else at the table really interested was an awakened familiar pygmy owlbear that was a circle of the Unseelie Druid.
Love it.
And he was so cute, but because he was unseelie, like you looked at him and it felt wrong that he was cute, which then translated at the table to him canonically having teeth. And, you know, owlbears have beaks.
Right,
He canonically had teeth in his beaks. Anyways,
I
but
love
anything that Alexander did, because that was his name, Alexander,
Alexander.
everybody was falling more and more in love with him. He was also literally like the equivalent of a teenager. He was just so adorable. But people always are like, gotta look into that, because the pygmy owlbear is one of the most adorable awakened familiars in their awakened familiar supplement. Absolutely love it. But in my campaign that I DM for my home group, actually this one player is a necromancer, and very into the scientific part of it, like dissecting things and then, you know, reanimating the skeletons, learning more about biology, all of that kind of stuff. And then she had an encounter with the Raven Queen and decided to become a cleric of the Raven Queen, and was like, but I can't find anything that like really fits with what we're trying to do. And I was like, oh, hello, here is the cleric of the Broken Bone domain from Underground Oracle. She is in love. And so now she has this like extra little bit that fits so well into her necromancy background, and just still fits in with the Raven Queen, and everything is beautiful.
That's so cool.
And then the thing that made everyone go, oh, was way early in my campaign. And this is also one of the older supplements, and I can't pronounce it. But I think it's Macrobesis, the mother of manticores.
Ooh.
Is a monster from Underground Oracle. The supplement includes the like island that the Macrobesis lives on, has these like ghoulish creatures that she controls, and it is gorgeous. And so I sent them to, I renamed the island to fit in with my world, but I sent them, and they were suffering so much exhaustion, most of them, by the time they actually got to where her lair was, because the minion creatures, that is something they can do. And so 2 of them, I think, had like 3 levels of exhaustion. It was terrible. This was also super early in my campaign, when I was also new to trying to create things. And one of the players we had worked together to create a D&D version of the Pathfinder Kineticist. And let me tell you, I was not great. I was not great at writing it. And this was the most broken player ever. Anyways, so the player gets there and literally rolls a nat 20 and one-shots Macrobesis.
Nice.
One-shots this thing.
Nice.
Because everything was so broken and how we made this character. And it literally was like, right after that, he was like, hey, I want to become a paladin so we can go back and work on this. And like, so then I had to write that, but one shot. But then it gave them time at the end of the session where our necromancer, who loves to dissect things, was like, ooh. And so then she is like having a conversation while she's dissecting Macrobesis, and is like, oh, Vicky turns around and is holding a liver. And I was like, I don't even know if they have a liver. Like, what is going on? And so she's like, she got to take a list of things that she was collecting. And then later we ended up using one of those items to trade for information, because it was like such a fascinating specimen. Oh, it was just a unique time, and we loved it.
Unique time.
But one shot Macrobesis, because I created a broken subclass.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was gonna say for me, the one, I'll make it quick because I know you want to go to break, Scott. For me, I took the one shot that I created for the Halloween thing, and I ran it for some friends who don't know UO Publishing, and when they confronted I can never say it right, and Jess always laughs at me. Horgsal, yeah. When they dealt with the Horgsal and actually realized what was going on in that village, they went crazy. They're like, "Oh my god, this is so dark!" But like dark, they were like, this is like crazy, but like good. You know, they loved it, and I love the reaction from that. It was probably one of my favorite ones when you introduce this stuff to people who haven't really messed with it, and it just kind of blows their mind. You know, especially since they were like two of them were people who've been playing for a long time. So they kind of just, you know how we are. As you've been playing a while, you kind of know what to expect. So when you get hit with something that is new, you're like, ooh, shiny. This is awesome. Yeah. So
it was very scary.
Especially when the whole town's trying to eat you.
It just turns so fast, and all of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, dang, you look pretty tasty. Let's eat you. It's like, what? Where did this come from? It was so nice. There was a moment. Sorry, Zia. Okay. Oh, Scott. Okay. We got to play that before. I helped play test the Horgsau thing, and Blake was in that game too. And we were at the Horgsau event. And he's like, let's all get like group tattoos, and all of us were like, maybe not. But like you can do that. So he like got a tattoo, and this was like the most Blake and like the most barbarian thing I've ever seen. Like he gets the tattoo, and then all of a sudden the town is like, great, now we can eat you. And Blake was like, nah, I'm good. And like takes his axe and like just chops off the tattoo and is like, and now you don't have like a brand on me anymore. Let's fight. It was like the coolest fucking thing. I'm like, damn, Blake.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's such a different perspective of Blake, because in our game he's like, nah, I'm out. I run.
Yeah.
He leaves.
His barbarian in this was very, rightly so, very confrontational with some stuff. So that's cool.
Sorry, my dogs are going off.
Oh no!
No, you're good. The puppies. All
right, well, let's take a break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Give everybody a chance for their bio needs, and we'll enjoy the intermission. We'll have all kinds of Kickstarters showing. I'll drop in the links while it's going. See you in 10. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, chat. You're amazing.
So I'm just reminding everybody, check out Harrow the Blighted Plain. You definitely want to back it. It is going to be the shit. It is just an expansive, amazing piece of work by UO Publishing that is on its way to all of us. So go sign up to get notified when it launches, and then back it, of course.
Of course.
I'd also like to make a statement here, just so anybody watching this, none of us are being paid by UO to say all these nice things.
No,
we genuinely love UO Publishing stuff.
Yeah, I want to remind everybody that is just jumping in that the point of tonight's episode is I just feel we don't give a lot of the creators that whose product we really enjoy enough love, and not even just the emotional part, but also just feedback. I think this feedback will be invaluable for them, especially with some of the questions I have coming up, for them to know what to do next. I mean, they're always looking for information from that anything they can get, data, anecdotal stuff, stories stories for creators are totally feel good and keep them going. It makes them want to make more, and we want UO to never stop making more. So keep making more. I am going to do 2 more appreciation episodes this year. I think I'm going to do one on Cypher or Monte Cook games. I'm not sure which one yet. And one on Esper Genesis, which is a science fiction setting for D&D 5e that I think is really awesome. I'm considering doing one for Tales from the Loop, and because I love Tales from the Loop. I think it's an amazing piece of TTRPG setting writing. The game is a lot of fun. It's perfectly set for short form, 2-3 episode kind of things, or one shots. But I don't want to really get into all them. I want to keep this on UO Publishing tonight. So I'm going to start with a question for everyone. I think this is going to be the hardest question you're going to get tonight. What do you think UO Publishing is missing from their catalog that you would love to see them make?
Oh, heck.
That's tough, because they have so many awesome things in so many different like categories. There's like subclasses, spells, feats, races, locations. Yeah,
we can make it easier because now they're making Cypher material, and so the only thing they have for Cypher so far is Haro related. So maybe what do you want? What do we want? Not that I have an answer for this question, but what do we want to see them create in the Cypher system?
I feel like a cool, like, I know it's not necessarily that unique or that new, but like some sort of cool like gunslinger. I feel like I haven't seen anything from like UO like that, because I feel like they'd have a really interesting take on. 'Cause I think it was cool. Like I think the gunslinger in D&D is really cool. There's a lot of like checks and balances for it. But I wonder what a Keith and Jess iteration could look like.
I love gunslingers, so I'm all for that. I also like. I would like to see something like a wand slinger.
Ooh, that'd be pretty cool.
Because recently, the Harry Potter game that it came out, or the Hogwarts game that came out, it made me think about wizards mixed with the West, and instead of carrying like 6-shooters, carrying wands around. But like I just like the idea of like wizards throwing magic around, but like cowboy versions of wizards, talking with like that country slang, but they like, blowing things up with spells. I would love to see something like some type of wand slinger. Like a mage, wizard that's throwing magic around using wands. That could be kind of cool. I'm piggybacking off your thing.
No, you're fine. What about a bread slinger? Just throwing different loaves of bread. Around.
I love that.
Pull them out.
So in Harrow, they have what's called the Blight Slinger.
Oh.
It's actually what I'm going to be playing in the Harrow game I'm going to play, because I'm going to brag about the quick start because it's so amazing. But in Harrow, they have magic called the Crystal Blight because of the big event. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to buy the quick starter to find it. And it being a crystal punk setting, a lot of the magic comes from the natural properties of crystals. And so the Blight Slinger can essentially utilize the magic of these they're not cursed, but they're blighted crystals. And so it's they're already thinking slingers, so maybe we'll get
they're onto something. Maybe
we will.
So, I just got distracted. I just looked up some of the Oscars stuff that's going on. I'm very excited.
I don't know, like I with the older stuff, with the D&D stuff, not that they're making anymore, but the one thing I wish I would have seen a little bit more of was more spells, because I really like the spells they created. I'd love to make some more spells. They do make a lot of good spells, but it's probably because they spent so much time making the spells good that they didn't put as many spells out as I'd love to see, because I love spells. I love finding ways to incorporate spells that nobody sees at my table. So any chance to get something that's not already out there that people see, I love. So.
Transitioning to Cypher from their D&D stuff, and I'm looking for what it was called, but I would love anything related to the Ghastly Opera House, and I'm trying to remember what the ghost was called. But they had an amazing but it was just really cool with a ghost that was haunting an opera house, and the Prima something. Eventually I'll find it.
They need to have Mama Bardusa and the Cantina and Harrow as well. I need that in my Cypher.
Every single one that they do just needs to have Mama Bardusa.
I think they're missing one thing that I know they have to have already got it kind of on their radar, but it's so big it's kind of tough to get to. But they need an iconic city like Waterdeep or Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter, somewhere where every great setting has this city that is just amazing, that really is the iconic place for the city setting for that place. Maybe it'll be in Harrow, but I think I would love to see them build out a city that is really built around their world and the things they do.
I think that'd be very cool. An amazing city in Harrow. That'd be so cool. Like the Waterdeep equivalent in Harrow. Whatever that would be. That'd be so cool.
I also agree, because they've made some smaller cities that you can just like plop into your world. Yeah. But like fully like a Waterdeep sized city would love to see.
Yeah, something that is just like all UO.
To kind of piggyback off that, to go with the cities, to like we all enjoy Mama Bardosa and the other NPCs that they have, but now with the new Cypher system, it would be interesting for them to kind of make a city and then populate it with like well-known NPCs
That'd be
that
cool.
like everybody knows about Volo, and you try to incorporate Volo when you can
Yeah.
when you're at Waterdeep. But like if they had like their own sort of centralized place hub, and then just NPCs you can pick from, because they have like so many that have like personality and stuff, and it's interesting to see everyone's different takes on them. When
Cypher has their own beast of a city in Tolus, which is this book is insane.
Oh my
Look how-
goodness!
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like an encyclopedia.
For one city?
One city.
Holy
And
cow!
it exists. You buy it either for 5e or Cypher, and it is astoundingly deep.
Okay.
And it should be a
Jess,
model.
and Kayla. Beat it.
Get on it.
So
That
Get started. Come on. It's just like
you
this thing.
have
You
it
got
in
this.
you
So-
to be better than that book.
and this is to really
Bigger.
feed that energy. When it was kickstarted, that was a $150 Kickstarter for the hardcover. It was crazy. So
Oh my goodness.
I would happily pay you $150 for
Yeah.
your
I-
killer city.
Would also happily pay that.
Same. Hands up.
Especially with just the few times that I've played with Keith and Jess and Kayla, they're the characters they create for themselves. The NPCs in a city would be amazing. I just love them.
The businesses, the secret underground, which you know is going to be in the sewers or below the sewers, or maybe turned into cave networks that it leads into the mountains, or it's just it's so ripe for UO to. I'm sure though it's a harrowing thing to contemplate creating a whole city.
Yeah.
But
Scott, you're showing your dad level. You're showing your level of dadness. All
I
right.
have 3 kids. I have total dad level, and I can totally play it off.
I'm with you. But as a fellow dad, I'm warning you. You're getting close to that level. All right. You're maxing out.
I'm proud in my dad levelness.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, a city would be very fun because kind of what we were talking about earlier. I feel like cities are so iconic for TTRPGs of like, oh, we're starting in this well-known city. There's so many story opportunities, and I feel like if Keith and Jess and Kayla were able to do something like that, I feel like the story possibilities would be endless.
No, I'd be happy to even help them with that, because I love creating cities and stuff like that, and like locations in cities. That is just, I would love to see what they come up with though. Could you imagine what they'd come up with for their Harrow? Like what that city could be? The possibilities is just like.
Just like the pygmy owl bears and like the Garshep and just like all these like super.
The Garshep.
Cool.
Oh my god, I love them.
We gotta talk about Garshep.
They'd have to have like shops. Imagine like a pygmy blacksmith, pygmy owl bear blacksmith. Ding ding ding.
It'd be so cool making like silverware, just like little tiny things.
And you would try to like sit there and like haggle, and you'd be like, he's just so cute. I can't haggle with this blacksmith. Like.
They should also do an equipment set for the Shandao. If they have 4 arms, you're going to need different kinds of equipment. That would be cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. I like the Shandao too. We didn't talk about the Shandao enough, but they're cool.
Sneak peek into Harrow. They have opportunities for cities like crazy. Sneak peek into the quick start, because Harrow is separated into 4 nations that are vastly different. Based on how each of the civilizations reacted to the crystal blight. Yes. That's really funny. Didn't think of it that way until now.
My brain's always thinking in Avatar terms, so you're fine.
Yes.
Water.
But they could, there's definitely, I'm looking at the Harrow map because I pulled up the quick start just to gush about it because it is 79 pages. It is a thick boy.
Aw, just a thick boy.
It is. And they even have because they don't have water like oceans, it's water sand. And so they use special traveling the water sands. There's a whole section on it with different vehicles and things like that. I've got everything. It's so good. Anyway, I forgot what the question was. Did we answer it?
What
I
do you
think we
want to
did.
add?
We just
Okay.
kind of went on. We just kind of all of us just started going on.
Just sort of, yeah.
The
It
city.
was like, well, we
need
want
the
to see the
city.
matter,
That's
the city, yeah.
Keith
Yeah.
and Jess, this is good shit. So
So
get on it.
what would you then? That leads to the next question, which is what have you changed about a UO publishing product, an NPC, a spell that you did differently on purpose? Like there was something that you wanted to do different than what was already written in. Because I mean, every DM changes stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's how we work. It's how we roll. We re-homebrew your homebrew.
Of course. Let me see here.
I think my Oh, sorry. I thought you were
No.
thinking.
I was gonna say I think Nekola has an answer. So
No, I was just gonna say I think I've already told the story because my Puka Warlock with our random familiar just knocked it up a level that was fabulous. Would not have been able to do it without the basis of the Scremp and the Puka and the Warlock class or the Warlock subclass that they created. Is just yes.
I don't know.
Hello.
Go ahead.
sorry, I'm getting distracted here. One thing that's about to happen is, excuse me, one of my players is a warlock, and their patron is someone from UO Publishing. Do you all know about Lady Moontide? Have you all seen stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that was released or not.
It is.
Erie Knox from my show. She also does a lot of the art for Underground Oracle. I think she did the Pygmy Owlbear. Their patron is Lady Moontide, and we haven't done a ton of it with she's very mysterious and like, oh, don't worry about my patron and stuff like that. So like, there's a lot of like backstory secrets that we haven't had a chance to discuss in the show, but there's a lot of stuff. We haven't really changed it. I've just made Lady Moontide much more powerful, like in this, like the cosmic scale of things. So like just like to help Nox's character fit into the story, because Nox I think worked really closely with Jess to make her character from afar, and Jess is like, you should definitely check out Lady Moontide. They're a super cool patron and fits really well with what you're doing. But just to help Nox fit better into the story, I think so I think we just sort of like buffed up Lady Moontide's power level in our story, like got her to that final evolution before the story started. And I think that's the only thing we've really changed, at least on my side of things, that we've really changed from UO stuff, because this is going to sound really cheesy, but it's very good as it is. But yeah, I think I'll circle back to me. But I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind. We sort of just amped up one of their gods.
Stax?
I don't think I've changed anything. As David said, like, it's pretty good as is. But if I did, it probably would be something in that aspect where we're beefing it up, or like making it more engrossing to like the story and the character, to give them like more options to choose from. But I don't think I've done anything yet, mostly because it's Underground Oracle content, it's going to be new to a lot of people in the first place, and I want to make sure when they first get it, they're getting like the real dosage before I'm like, and this other stuff is also part of it. But I think the only conflict there would be is if I had like homebrew, because I have, in some of my campaigns, the way magic is used, there's like repercussions for it. So if someone were using Underground Oracle spells in this particular case, they would also fall into that range as well. So I don't think I've done anything yet. But that's not to say I won't.
I say, for me, the biggest thing, the only thing I really did was with the Cantrip Cantina. They have the drinks that they list. Yeah. I made a whole bunch of other drink options, and I found some stuff online. So I just created more drink options. Because like, I agree with you guys. It's really pretty good the way it is. And the only other thing you really change is how you portray the NPCs. Because that's just natural, because we're all going to latch onto certain aspects, and that's what we're going to be the key features of that NPC when we run them. So other than that, I don't really change a lot of their stuff. Don't need to. It's so well play tested that you don't really need to change it.
Yeah, they do a lot of good play testing stuff. I was gonna say I think the one thing I changed. We've talked about Mama Bardosa a lot tonight, but I am a very not good at flirting person in real life. And apparently Keith was like, "Yo, she's like a mad flirt," and I was like, "Not in this world, dude." That was one thing we sort of changed on necessity because my characters would have hated her if I tried to flirt with her with that.
The closest that I could get to changing something from Underground Oracle isn't even changing. It was just pulling a specific feat from a. So I am playing in one of my weekly home games. She is a tiefling druid, but she was originally, when we started the game, a bard druid, which, y'all, you have to be real committed to multi-class, 2 spellcasters with 2 different spellcasting modifiers. I was committed. But she was a bard, College of the Cursed Caller from Underground Oracle. And her druid is Circle of the Forged because she has a magical prosthetic. And so it fit really well. Part of Bard of the Cursed Caller is that at level 6, you are immune to curses. And it just made so much sense for my character. And I don't know what my cats are doing. Anyways,
curse calling.
Yeah. For the longest time, I wanted to, for story reasons, I wanted her to transition to be fully a druid, as she was bonding with the sentient consciousness that turned out to be living in her prosthetic. Yes, it is. Okay. Tilstra.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
No, the DM is Dev.
Of course.
So if this makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Anyways, but I was refusing to give it up because I loved this cursed caller thing so much and being immune to curses. And then when this character fully died in an explosion, I feel like I've mentioned explosions too many times tonight. I might have a problem.
You have at least two more before it becomes perfect.
She was then resurrected by the consciousness in her prosthetic.
Dev, somebody slow him down.
I know, right? She became a full druid, but we substituted the 6th level druid Circle of the Forged for the 6th level bard because we were there was a cursed object that we carried around for a while, and so the consciousness knew that she needed to remain immune to curses because some of Dev's curses are wild. So now I have this full druid who has just 1 feat from Underground Oracle because I just couldn't let it go. I was so into it. And that's the closest I've gotten to changing it. It is all fully thought out and just so much goes. I just love it. Yeah.
Then let's turn and go a different way. Let's talk about the team, which now includes Kayla. And things that you've experienced from them, like things they've done for you or you've done for them, or just great stories of the 3 of them now. Which
for sure,
I'm glad you mentioned Kayla because I did not know that, and I think
it was
that's super
very
cool.
very recent. It might have only been yesterday that they announced it.
Oh, nice.
I highly recommend you go follow Just Thinking K on Twitter. She's amazing. She has done other things. She DM'd a game for my 12 Games of Christmas stream. Absolutely fantastic. Just person and all that good stuff. Fits very well with who Jess and Keith are because they are just, and then again, bringing up charity streams, it is I don't even have to worry about if I need something because they will just offer anything that is needed to help support charity streams. They support so many charities and charity streams, and just I was humbled when the first time Jess like offered stuff for raffles and donors and things like that.
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
amazing.
Blew me away.
I
so,
agree.
So generous. Yeah.
I agree with that stuff. I mean, just besides them just being generous, I mean, just talking to them, they're very approachable. You know, there's some content creators you reach out to just to like, hey, like I really like your stuff, and like they won't even respond to you. You know, like they just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like a lot of people like our stuff, but they are very, very committed to reaching out, talking to the community, supporting those that support them, and even supporting you. Even sometimes, even if you aren't supporting them, I've seen them show a lot of support to a lot of people, and it blows my mind. I mean, I'm in their Discord, and the community they have in their Discord shows on like the kind of people they are, because the community is a wonderful community on Discord. You go to some Discord channels and you'll see some heated people going back and forth, but there's not really any of that really on there. Like the people on there, everybody's just like coming together kind of mentality. We all want to like make great stuff and raise each other up, and that really shows on like who the people who created that Discord, them, because that's the kind of people they are. And I just really appreciate who they are, and they've been so supportive of all the stuff that I've been a part of. So
I remember something that happened that I thought was it was very telling of them as creators and people. I was wanting to make a desktop wallpaper for myself with some of their art. So I asked them if I could get some of the art, not from the books, because the books, they were locked. Although, I mean, as someone who does design work, I unlock PDFs all the time, so I unlock all my PDFs. But I asked them if I could, create, and I asked them, you should create your own like desktop screensavers or wallpaper or whatever, because I thought their art was really cool. And I particularly was going to do one at the time with the Draken Snake and the Gorb. And they said, you know what? Hold on. I don't know if I can grant you that right. I have to check and see what the agreement with the artist says. And they got back to me like a day or two later after talking to the artist to find out if it'd be okay. And I was like, that was as, a lot of people would be like, oh, they're gonna blow me off. They didn't. They were so respectful of their artists that they said, wait, don't even make a screensaver yet or a wallpaper. Let's find out and get you permission, and we'll do it. And they got back to me, and I thought, man, that was the most respectful thing you could do for your creator allies, is to say, hold on, don't do something that would be beneficial. I would use it. People would see it. I would show it off. It would be, and I was like, man, that's who you model yourself after if you're a small creator. Someone who will respect their artists and their writers and the team enough to just say, hold on, don't promote us with your cool art, with our cool art. Let us get permission.
And respect you enough to get back to you too. I mean, they could have easily just said, let's talk to our artists, and just decided never to get back to you. But they respected them. They came back and showed you and 100%. That is the kind of people they are, and I stand behind them through thick and thin. They're amazing people. So
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, y'all are saying all the rights. You're saying all the not correct. You're saying all the truths about them, because they're genuinely amazing people. I think just from the fact that like I feel like a couple of years ago now, they used to just like give away their content. They were just like, hey, like this we really enjoyed playing this. Like, we want you all to play this. Like I think at some point they were like, the greatest compliment we can ever get is like seeing something of ours in someone else's game, and it's just like that's like cool. Like you can tell they really care about the stories and the space and the people, and they want people to experience the same epic adventures that they went on. And yeah, I just think that's one of the things I love about them. But yeah, just I think we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but just like as people, Keith and Jess are just so supportive. Like we message back and forth quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just like Keith will be like, hey, how you doing? Everything good? Like, great episode, man. That was awesome. Like, really enjoy what you're doing. You're doing great. You're awesome. Your hair is cool. And then just like
he was right about the hair.
It's like stuff like that where it's just like he's just like they're just like good, real people, and they genuinely care about this community enough to like reach out and just have like conversations. Like they're probably busier than all of us, with like the amount of content they're making, but they still take time to like be in the space, be in the Discord, show up to the events, and it's just really really cool. I love them to death, and like Morgan said, I will stand behind them no matter what.
Yeah.
Especially if they make a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And
or one slinger.
not only, I mean, fantastic people. Jess on Twitter is funny.
Oh,
very funny.
Jess's newsletter is amazing.
Jess's newsletter is amazing. Yes, they do have the unplaytested.
Yep.
But just follow Jess Penley on Twitter. Sometimes she just posts some real stuff that is just like super relatable and hilarious to those of us who are of millennial age. It's like, how many tacos can you eat without dying? And I'm like, that is exactly the things I think about all the time.
I mean, you kind of have to know.
Things I need to know. Anyway.
The boomers want to know how many licks it took to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, right?
Yeah. We got
well, it's not looking good for us because they don't. The world may never know.
Yeah. Also, Barbaric said in chat, Kayla was announced 2 days ago, so
yes,
it's very very new.
But Kayla has been doing a ton of stuff on her own, writes one-page RPGs.
For sure.
Definitely go. And she's also sweet and funny and great. And I look forward to the Underground Oracle audience getting to know her more, because I very much enjoyed getting to know her, and it's great.
Stax,
So,
you got it? Yeah.
I actually first learned about Underground Oracle through an ad read when I was playing as a character, and we read off our sponsors.
That's so cool.
I was like, who's this Underground Oracle that I keep like promoting? So I like looked into them, and I was like, oh, they have really cool stuff. And then being in the position like we started our channel not too long ago, and being relatively new, and just be like, okay, I'm gonna send a message to Jess that she's either gonna turn me down or she's gonna like want to collab or whatever. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I sent her a message, and like completely chill, fully into it. Like we actually did a Zoom call with Jess and Keith, and then another member of the staff, and we just like sat down. Wasn't like weird or anything. They were super relatable, and I was just thinking the whole time, like, oh my gosh, it's Underground Oracle. Just like, yes, we want to work with y'all. And I'm like, this is so cool. Because, like, again, once you think of sponsors, it's not like they're like better than anyone or anything like that. But you just think that maybe they might not consider me because I'm not like anybody famous or anything like that. So, like, just to be able to talk to them and see their love for writing and their love for creating, and it like shows in their work, I'm just like, this is jackpot level right here, guys. Like this is a big deal.
Honestly, yeah, they'll support and shout out, and they're so kind to everyone in the space.
I also want to point out, not only are they great content creators, I have not had the opportunity or the pleasure to play with Keith, but I've had multiple chances to play with Jess, and she is a phenomenal role player.
Yeah,
she is a joy to have at any table, and it just shows like the fact that they're able to role play like that, and they make the same kind of content, and they're just wonderful like human beings to just talk to. It's like very rarely do you find somebody that fits all those criteria, and they just do it. And everybody that tells me about how great Keith is to play with, I'm like so jealous. I'm like, I hate you. You got to play with him.
He's really good.
I got to play with him yet. So
I don't have that either. I almost did with Jess once.
Oh, Jess she's a phenomenal role player.
I was gonna play in a one shot with her, and that night Keith got sick, and I guess she puts the health of Keith before my one shot
over her enjoyment.
The one downside about Keith and Jess is they love each other too much.
No, I will say this. What I love about with the way Jess is with the stuff is she's so go with the flow as a player, right? She's just so chill, and I really enjoy, and like so much so that I was so nervous running the Fae adventure that they created, the mock Fae,
Yeah.
because she was one of the players. Like when you're running their adventure for them, you're like, oh my god. And it was a charity stream. You're like, so this is a charity stream. I'm running it for the creator. And she was just so like, dude, you're good. Run it. Just have fun running it. Don't worry. Like she wasn't like, oh, that's not right. That's not how the like, you know, like she was just so go with the flow, and it made my stress levels just drop from the start of the stream to like almost immediately. And she was just so chill. Like that's what I'm saying. Like when you have somebody like that at your table, it is wonderful to know. Like, okay, I'm running their adventure, but they're not going to be critical of me.
Fun story. This, for any viewers who don't know, this is Hank. Hank is a menace. This is the point in the evening where he is going to jump up and down 15 times. But he's the best. When we started on the Underground Oracle Discord, I started the Hearthside in the Oracle, or in the Underground, learning the Cypher system. The group, it was about 5 of us, created, in learning how to create characters for the Cypher system, we made a character of Jess. And so I have a character sheet that we made. For those of you who are familiar with Cypher, your character description goes, so-and-so is a adjective, noun, who verbs. And that's where you get all of your like skills and things like that. And so we have Jess is a jovial explorer who plays too many games. And
That's
it's
phenomenal.
a badass character sheet. But
Sure it
yes,
is.
couldn't talk about that without talking about our jovial explorer.
Jovial Explorer.
I do want to get one other thing in before we shut down for the
yes.
night, which is TTRPG Rising Tide. This is something where Jess is the social media manager for them, and this just kind of talks about who they are. Is they're helping other creators create by building out this community of creators with speakers and people teaching you what you need to become a better creator. And to do that while building out, what did I say, 152 titles in 2 years, which is insane. It's just beautiful. It's from the heart. There's, they're teaching people how to do what they're learning. And, for creators, it's nice to give back to your players and your DMs, but to give back to other creators who, I would say ostensibly are potentially competitors, but you don't think of them as competitors. You just think of them as co-collaborators in a much bigger environment. And that's how they look, I think, at other creators. Like when we started creating, she gave me so much information that I had been trying to find, and I found some, but there were holes everywhere. And she filled the holes for me, let me know where, the things that she knew. I've taken it, from her and Keith. Keith did it too. I don't want to say just Jess and Keith both. And, I think that that's the best way to build a community and build the community around us, is to collaborate with each other and, hold each other up, not scramble for the top, because there is no top. There's just all of us. And it's not big enough for us to have a top, and, there's only WotC and everybody else. And if you're not WotC, you're the everybody else. So work together.
Yeah.
And who knows about how long WotC's going to be WotC.
Yeah. There's been some choices, interesting choices made recently.
And they've rolled some crit fails on some of those choices. So.
But we were right, though. I want you guys to know that we were right. We kind of won this. Sorry.
Everybody won.
True.
You guys won. We won. It's great. It's a win for everyone. It's a win for everyone.
Rising Tide also does RT talks on Thursdays, and this one this week is with B. Dave Walters. And it's a live thing, so like definitely go check it out.
Is that in their Discord?
Yes, it is. I pulled it up on Twitter. This Thursday, the 16th at 6:30 Eastern, in their Discord. Yes. So check them out on Twitter. TTRPG Rising Tide.
As they would say, everything they do is rad.
Yeah.
Yes. It's amazing.
All right. If you don't have any more questions for each, do you have any questions for each other before we go? I don't see any more in chat.
Actually, I got one. What is your favorite feat?
My left one.
Crap.
Do you have two or one?
Is it okay? But is it your left foot or your left wall hand?
wall hand.
You don't remember? I just quoted something you did and you don't remember it. Never mind. We'll talk afterwards.
All right, we need. Wait. I'm trying to remember. We'll talk. I'm
failed,
so
sir.
bad. Half the time I say shit that I'm just like
and as the Green Arrow would say, you have failed this city. All right.
Yes, I failed myself. I feel terrible right now.
Okay, favorite feat. I'm looking through the list of feat that I have from them on Underground.
I have 3.
Hit us with them.
Death daggers, because I love dagger characters. In fact, I'm playing one right now in Scott's game, and he uses daggers, and so I use this feat. And then I love the Trapsmith. I'm actually looking forward for a way to like use that on my character in the future. Where if you guys don't know, Trapsmith is the one where you have an aptitude for traps. You get to increase your dex or intelligence by 1 to a max of 20. Attempts made to disarm traps that you've set are at disadvantage, and traps that you set deal that damage and also do an additional 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier. Ooh. So they deal extra damage. So the traps, they're brutal. So that's a really good one. And then the sword and board, I really like that.
Yeah, the sword and board is a good one.
Yeah, that's a cool one where you get to basically whack people with a shield and do damage.
I don't have the sword and board. I'm gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's good. Those are my 3 favorites. I know I said your favorite, but I can't decide between them. Those are my 3.
I went looking, but it turns out what I was thinking of is a background. So that's the next question.
I can't think of any at the top of my head.
I like anomalous reaction. Which one?
Fraudulent spell from Visions of the Oracle. Where because it allows you to make it where people cannot determine what you're casting. Ooh. And in D&D and well, I don't know about Cypher yet, but the ability to hide what you're doing is when everybody's a caster is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I like anomalous reaction. I always, anytime I play Awakened Familiar, because that's a prerequisite, I give them anomalous reaction. Because you get an increase in one of the 3 spellcasting modifiers, but you choose a school of magic when you take it, and then anytime you cast a spell from that school of magic, you have to roll a d12. If you roll a 12, it causes an anomalous reaction, which is things like your size increases for the next minute, or all creatures within 30 feet of you fall under the effects of slow, or you cast an anti-magic feat. Like, it's kind of like a wild cool magic thing, but it's specific to the fact that you are an Awakened Familiar, and like
that's cool.
The way that you have gone about learning magic is not the way that like a sentient creature would normally learn magic, and so it adds this level of like just a little bit of RP that I love.
That's pretty cool.
I'm gonna look up different.
I got everybody looking now. Everybody's like,
So, did anyone say Shrouded Mind?
Oh, no, that's a good one.
That is a great one.
Okay.
Doesn't Blake have that one? Isn't that the one that Blake has?
Yeah, he has one. Yes.
So, for those listening, Shrouded Mind lets you have advantage on saving throws against divination and enchantment spells, and you have resistance to psychic damage. So, if you have a Shrouded Mind Totem of the Bear Barbarian, you're resistant to like everything. And you don't have to make a Clash Star, so they won't see it coming.
That is good.
That's very smart.
If we're since I mentioned backgrounds, they have a background called Born Under the Wrong Star?
Yeah.
Or Born Under a Bad Sign.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
I am obsessed with this because every day at dawn, you roll a D100. If the result is 1 through 50, the D20 roll for an attack you make is a 20, it turns it into a 1. So like throughout the day, if you rolled bad on your roll at dawn, anytime you roll a crit hit or a crit success, it's a crit fail. But if your D100 is a 50 to 100, then anytime an attack is targeting you crits, it is a crit fail.
That's awesome.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one too.
For backgrounds, I saw the child hero, and I just thought instantly of all the campaigns that I have that have like children that the whole party has to protect. Like this would be very beneficial.
Very applicable here in this situation.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think of the backgrounds. I mean, those are both really good ones.
Those are great.
But yeah, I think that's really it, right?
Yeah.
We got any other questions?
I mean, there's I don't think we touched on heroic feats.
No.
But so now people are going to have to go check them out. Or heroic talents. I've definitely given my players heroic talents because they're amazing.
There's some pretty cool ones.
Well, on screen, I put the hottest titles from Underground Oracle on drive-thru.
Nice.
This is the top 30. Just so you know, there's a lot of product that UO has put out. If you're not familiar with them yet, if you've been watching this whole episode and you don't know what they've done, it is just an astounding, a staggering amount of content that they've been able to put out. And none of it has ever crossed, my hands that I felt was not top quality from page one. Some of them aren't very long. Some are 2 or 3 pages. Some are 20 pages, but every one fits exactly what I expect from it. It's always good. It's always written well. Like I think earlier someone was saying, it was always written from like a narrative perspective. You feel like they're helping you with your DMing by giving you some narrative hooks and advice and help. I don't say advice, help. And I think that's really powerful for a small company of 3 people now to be able to do. And, they have I want to make sure that everyone knows that the Harrow is coming on Cypher. So you want to go back that. And we've hit the end of the night. I don't want to turn this into a super long stream. I do like to keep it to 2 hours. And I do want to give everybody a chance to kind of run around and tell everybody all your stuff before we hang up with everybody so they can go do their Oscar watching.
For sure.
Why don't we start the other way? Let's start with James.
Okay, I am James or Stax or Judgy DM or the list continues. You can find me anywhere on the socials at Judgy DM. And you can also catch me over at Dungeon Mechanics, where we do a lot of different TTRPGs, where we've been incorporating a lot more. Also look forward to when we bring forward a monthly rendition of Underground Oracle exclusive content.
Nice.
With the alternating cast, so that you can all see just how awesome Jessen, Keith, and Kayla, is that so right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have to offer. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's all.
Morgan.
Baller. As I said at the beginning, I'm Morgan, Mindflayed, or whatever you want to call me. I'm with Mindflayed Mondays. We are professional dungeon masters who run games for our clients. So I have myself and several other amazing DMs that work with me. So reach out to us if you're looking for someone to run a game. I also have a podcast that I run called Mindflayed Mondays Podcast. We currently just released 2 episodes over the last few weeks for a mask one-shot that we were running. And I love superheroes. And if you love like Young Justice, stuff like that, check out Mask. It's a great game. Normally we run a lot of D&D stuff, but we have a lot of different one-shots on our channel. And as I said at the beginning, also, David and I are both part of another podcast that's going to be launching super, super soon, hopefully, called Keep It Dicey, rotating dungeon masters, rotating systems, rotating casts. So please keep an eye out for that as it comes. And that's really all I got. And I love UO. You guys rock.
Nekola.
Hi, I am Nekola, aka Nekola the Druid, on all the socials that I have, which is not many. I run charity streams that are over the top, unnecessarily big, and way too much fun for their own good through Druidcraft Productions. I have a couple that I have that will be coming up soon. Plus, in August, you can come back for the second annual Weave Racers tournament, where Morgan will be vying to keep the title of the Weave Racer champion.
You're going nowhere.
And I also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm currently writing my first solo RPG using the Firelight system for Firelight's Jam. And so that is a fun adventure that I am doing. And lastly, I am also a moderator for the Underground Oracle Discord. Did not mention this at the top, but in the Underground Oracle Discord, they are currently running a character creating contest to where you can win a couple prizes if you make a Haro ready character image. So you could do it through like Hero Forge or Pit Crew, or if you're an artist, you could draw it yourself, but just make a picture, post it in there, you'll get entered in, and there's a couple prizes. So be sure to join the Discord, just because we have a lot of fun. I mean, literally, like, just having a bunch of people that say good morning to you every morning is just, it's uplifting, and I love it.
It's wonderful.
All right, David.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Tilstra. Normally, you can find me over as the Dungeon Master of the bi-weekly 5th edition actual play podcast From Afar. We are currently running From Afar podcast. We are currently running the story we're currently running is called Quest for Atlantis. We are just a bunch of folks who don't know how to sail trying to find the lost city of Atlantis. I'm a voice actor, Twitch streamer, TTRPG guest. With From Afar, we have a couple of charity events coming up. We got an Avatar charity stream coming up that we're working with. We also have, with Morgan, we got an Animal Adventures one-shot coming up, which will be pretty fun. If you haven't checked that system out and you're actually looking for cool stuff, like cool ways to break into TTRPG's Animal Adventures is amazing. But yeah, that's me. You can find my stuff at From Afar Podcast. You can find me at David Tilstra. Been working with UO since the inception of time. And they're wonderful, wonderful people. Everything they do is just over the top, better than, I'm just gonna say it, they're the best supplement creators out there. They have literally miles ahead of the competition, unless it's someone else in this chat is a supplement creator, and then you are also up there too. But anyway, love you all. Thank you for having us on here, Scott. This has been amazing. Yeah, everyone should check out UO because they are the best.
They also have a TeePublic store. None of us mentioned that this whole
really?
2 hours.
They do. True.
Yeah, this TeePublic store right here, actually.
Mine too.
Yeah, I forgot they had that. I forgot I was wearing this shirt.
Well, I'm Scott, Zealzaddy. You can find, we are creators. We create product for a city called Vatashar that we've been developing for the last year on Drive to RPG. We are also moving to Cypher. When the WotC thing happened, we decided to move to Cypher. We'll probably release select products to 5e and or Pathfinder. But, you know, it's funny, Jess and Keith and I, we chatted a couple times about how much we respected what Cypher was doing and how they responded to it. I thought was great. So, you know, I want to be on that team, not the other team. You know, I want to be with someone that respects their creators, respects their DMs and their players. So we're doing the same thing. We have not released our first Cypher product yet. We're still in the development of it. But that's where we're going. But tonight, I tried not to talk a lot about our stuff tonight. This is not about us. This is about UO Publishing. I dropped all their links. Make sure you go check out Harrow. they really are doing amazing stuff. And honestly, I think they've brought so many creators and people and DMs into the community, introducing them to players and DMs that really, love the game, but love more than the game. They love the community and the people that are part of it. They love streaming. They play live, they play games in person, all that stuff. So give them a follow. And next week we'll see you. Honestly, I don't remember what next week is. I was so tied into this one tonight. Next week's episode is on, give me 1 second. It is for DMs, GMs, whatever. It is storytelling and it is arc development for a campaign. So we have on there Big Campaign Pod, Double Crit Fail, ES Hero Cast, Gamer Raider Girl. Oh, you know what? I don't know if Gamer Raider Girl's coming yet. And Nerdy Teddy. So we have a bunch of different creators coming. We're going to talk about building out campaigns and the big arcs and how to do it, who's doing it, how, mechanisms for making it work if you're going to do it. So we love you, UO Publishing. You get all the hearts from us. We can't wait to show off more of your stuff. And I can't wait to see all your Cypher stuff come together too. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You all. Keep dancing.